Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good night, depending on when you're watching and where you live. This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And today we're going to look at a new battery tester I got in from Amazon. They had them on sale, so you know me, I can't pass up a sale. A sale. Someday I'll learn how to talk. Um, so I got this. I think it was on sale for like $8. And I use a battery tester a lot because I use a ton of batteries. You know, I've got all these shortwave radios that use batteries and go through batteries. I got all kinds of other electronic devices, you know, a dozen remote controls for different things. And so I'm a big user of batteries. And I use both rechargeable and non-rechargeable, depending on the application, because some applications, such as my wildlife cam, it eats batteries. And I've tried to use rechargeables, but they're typically just not enough capacity in them to run it for more than a day. And the non-rechargeables will run it for 5 days. So needless to say, it goes through batteries quite a bit. So I'm always looking into, better batteries, more capacity, and stuff like that. And I'm constantly checking batteries because what I do is for instance, on my shortwave radios, I will install a set of batteries. And as long as I'm using the radio, I will leave the batteries in. But if I'm not using the batteries, I'm not using the radios, consequently using the batteries, I am very aware of the problem of leakage. And I've spoiled more than one shortwave radio over the years from battery leakage. I've lost a lot of remote controls that I don't use very often from battery leakage. So nowadays, I try my best, if I'm not going to use something, take the batteries out. And then what I do is I classify those as used batteries and I put them in a separate box, knowing that they've been used and they're not fully charged or whatever. So when I do go to reuse the battery, I want to know, what's the status of the battery. Has it been fully discharged, or is it still pretty good, or whatever? Also, if I have a device that's not working or not working properly, first thing I do is I check the battery capacity. Is it a weak battery and that's causing a problem? For instance, I have a weather temperature sensor outside, of course, and it's fairly far from one of my displays. And as the battery gets drained, the furthest display receiver stops getting the signal. So I have to go and replace the battery, even though the battery is not fully discharged, or not even discharged that much. It might be a 1.5 volt battery and it's down to 1.4 volts, and it's just not enough to transmit strong enough to get to that far receiver. So I have to recycle those batteries. So I put those in a pile. So like I say, I'm always looking for a battery tester. And your typical multimeter, here's one, it's a Syntec, very inexpensive multimeter, will not do a terrific job of testing a battery status. And the main reason being, as I understand, and I'm no expert, is that it doesn't put a heavy load on the battery, or basically any load on the battery. And of course, in most applications, when you're measuring a voltage, you don't want it to pull down the reading or what you're testing. So it has a high impedance and therefore doesn't provide much of a load to the device you're testing. Gosh, I almost sound like I know what I'm talking about, which I don't. So this is not a good source of testing batteries. I got this one, I think I got this for that company that went out of business. What was the name of it? Oh yeah, Radio Shack. I got this from Radio Shack, and supposedly it provides a load to the battery to test the battery under a load. So I've been using that one. It's got an old analog output, replace, good, and in a little small area here, question mark. It does a pretty good job. And it tests all kinds of batteries. That's the beauty of this. It tests 9 volt, 12 volt, 15 volt, 22.5, 1 volt, lithium 3 volts, photo 6 volts. So it's pretty universal. Don't know how accurate it is, but I use this one. So I got this one, and I've seen these in the past where they had kind of an analog dial like this, good, bad, or indifferent. This one is a newer version, and it has a digital readout. Let's rip it out of the package here. So it has a digital readout right here. Of course, it gets power from the battery, so if the battery is bad, it's not going to display anything. And I don't know what the minimum voltage it has to have to make a reading. So basically, you put the battery in this little clamp here, and it gives you a readout. So we're going to test a few batteries just for the grins. And I've got 3 batteries here that are from my recycle box, and then I have 3 batteries here the same size, not necessarily the same manufacturer, that are right out of the package. They're new, been sitting of course, but they haven't been used, is my point. So we're going to see what kind of readings we get. And it gives on the back here, of course it's embossed, so it's black on black, what a 1.5 volt and a 9 volt battery should be, the reading should be when it's good, low power, or replace. So it gives you this little scale. So we're going to try, these are all 1.5 volts. So we're going to try this. We're going to try the biggest. It's got this little scale here of where to move this down to measure different batteries, AAA batteries, AA batteries, C size and D size. And then up here is some contacts for measuring 9 volt batteries. So we're going to take this used. Now this is used. I have no idea how long it was used or what the capacity is. And then we want to put this in. It's got a little symbol here to what direction you put it in. We'll slide this in, and we'll have it make contact. So this is saying it's 1.49 volts, and this is a 1.5 volt battery. So if you can see that or not. Okay, so indicates that battery is good. Okay, now let's take this meter and see what it says. We'll put it on the AACD battery scale, and the disadvantage of this and the advantage of that is it's kind of hard to hold the leads on it. Okay, so this is measuring, and there's no voltage on here, it's just good and bad, or replacing good, and it's measuring over into the good. I don't know if you can see that or not. See it moving? So that says it's a good battery too. So those two agree. Now, for grins, I'm going to use this cheap meter, multimeter, and I'll turn it on, and I'll turn it to 2,000 millivolts. And let's see what this battery reads. I may not be able to hold it up, so I'll tell you what it reads. Okay, it says it's 1.56. I know you can't see that, but believe me, it tells me 1.56. So this is reading higher than this did, and according to that battery's in great shape. Okay, so that one we say is a good battery. All testers, my kitten's up. All testers are indicating that's a good battery. So let's try another one. This is a Rayovac used AA battery. So we'll move down to where, whoa, my cat just fell. My kitten just fell. Didn't realize she was in the room until now. Okay. So we'll jam this thing in there. And it reads 1.43. You see that? Okay. So that says it's still pretty good. Let's try this one. It's on the AA scale still. Put this on the back of there. Whoops, that's the wrong way, dummy. And it's reading into the good. So, oh no, don't step on the keyboard. No, my kitten wants to get in the act. Get down, please. Thank you. Go find your sister and play with her. Oh, gosh. Okay, so he was reading in the good. So this says it's good. And then we'll see what this tells me in voltage. I wish I had another hand so that I could, boy, this is fun. See if I can get, trying to get the meter so I can see the meter and hold these leads on. 1.4, whoops, dadgummit. Wish my kitten knew how to hold a, oh brother. Now let me try this. Does this have a stand? No, this meter does not have a stand. There we go. Yeah, we're cooking. Who said you can't teach an old dog tricks? 1.47. So that indicates it's good battery too. Wait a minute, I already measured that. Uh-oh. Yeah, there my cat. I'm gonna have to break here for a second and move a kitten out of the room. Yeah, the kitten just knocked over my pencil box, and I got pencils all over the floor. Well, I'll fix that later. I don't remember if... Oh, I'm easily distracted by a kitten. Okay, we're going to measure it again with the meter, even though we may have... Yeah, I think we did measure it with a meter. Yeah, I had this battery back there holding this up, so that made me think that I was measuring that one again, which I didn't. Okay, we're moving right along. That over there, that one over there, move this over here. Okay, now we have a AAA battery, again, to use battery. Don't know how long it was used, maybe even for just a couple minutes. This is this came from a package of batteries from Amazon called Amazon Basic. And I thought I would try one because the price was really good. And I really haven't done any more scientific testing to see their capacity. Okay, that's down to 1.27. So finally we got a reading that may be in the suspect area. Okay, so we got 1.27. Now we'll go to this meter, which we have to change the scale to AAA. And apparently it's supposed to put a different load on it. And let's see if we can get all these things. Let me see. Let me use my big battery again to hold the meter up. And we're going to try to test this battery. And it tests good. Now, its display, the needle there, is approximately in the same position that those other batteries that read higher were. So, yeah, you kind of wonder about its accuracy. And you kind of wonder about my accuracy. Okay, we'll go back to the meter. Again, this is not the best meter in the world, but it's just, oops, it's just representative. Come on, stand up there. Gee whiz, I got no cooperation. Rodney Dangerfield gets no respect, and I get no cooperation. Okay, here we go. I don't even remember what it read on the other meter. I'll go back to that for my own benefit. And it measures, if I can get the contact on there, 1.33. So, as I recall now, this meter was giving me 1.2 something, and this says 1.33. So again, like the other batteries, it's reading high. Okay, now we've got 3 batteries that are fresh out of the package, haven't been used. And let's just, out of curiosity, see how these read, and I'm not going to do the other 2 meters. I'm just going to use the new meter. Okay, so here we go. We go with the big boy here. Should be reading at least 1.5 volts and maybe even a little higher. And sure enough, it's reading 1.5, 6 or 7. And that's a good battery. So that's what you would expect from a good battery. We'll try the AA. Again, this is a new battery. And it's measuring 153, 154. Okay. And here is a new Duracell Quantum. I decided to try one of these because, like I say, I have some devices that really eats up batteries, and I'm curious if it's worth the extra money for these Quantum batteries. So I'm going to try some of these out. So it measures, oh, there we go, 137. 137. And maybe I'm not getting good contact. Yeah, well, okay, well, hey, now look at this. Let me look at this. This battery, this is an expensive battery. It's, Duracell. It's not a copy, it's a Duracell. And the bottom is kind of rounded off. So this little tester, it's got a little point right there. And so, because this battery is so small, it slides down off that point. So let's see if I can get it to stay on that point and get a consistent rating. So I'm pushing hard now. There we go, 155. So one of the key things about this tester is when you're testing these small batteries, you've got plenty of room there. It can move, so you need to try to keep it on that point there, right there in the middle. This was, when I first tried to test it, it was off to the side, and it was so far down that it was actually on part of the covering of this battery. So it was not giving me a good indication. So that's something you have to keep in mind, is to keep the back of the battery on that little point right there, so you get a good reading. And the big D cells, that's not a problem. So anyway, that's the test of this new battery tester. The model number is BT169D. I got this off of Amazon. Here's what the package looks like. I don't see a brand name. Actually, it was sold by HAPURS, and they have their own model number. It's HPDLL10. And supposedly it does put a load on the battery, which will give you a better indication of what's left as far as capacity in the battery. So there we are. That's the review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.